This is Gaming with Crushworth. This is Crushworth headquarters, and as always, I'm Crushworth. Here at Crushworth headquarters, we're always cooking up something. The names rhyme. Super Mario RPG, Lies of P, and The Witcher 3. I'll have to tell the boss. Before we begin, I want to extend a special thank you to everyone who welcomed me and my channel. If you like what you see, like this video, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get all the latest Crushworth episodes. I'm so excited to share with you the games I recently completed. First up, Super Mario RPG. What can I say about this game except sheer charm? I've always had my eye on this game, and I was so ready to finally give it a try. It's definitely a memorable adventure. This is a remake of the acclaimed Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars on Super Nintendo. I love that Super Mario RPG on Nintendo Switch retains the whimsy and edginess of the original. It doesn't hurt that this game looks so good as well. 27 years ago, the OG classic pushed the boundary of what 16-bit graphics could look like. And now, 28 years afterwards, we have a whole new art style to love, fully reorchestrated soundtrack, and awesome triple attacks. How cool. You can also enjoy the game with its original soundtrack. It's easy to flip between the two. And yes, the entire gang is back and just as adorable. Before I go on, who do I have to talk to get Gino and Mallow back in another Mario game? These two are amazing, and it's too bad that we haven't had more adventures with them. It was groundbreaking to have our dear plumber go turn-based, and today, really outside of spiritual successors Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi games, we really haven't seen Mario like this again. Years ago, developer Square brought elements of their RPGs like Final Fantasy to the Mushroom Kingdom and captured the hearts of many. I'm now in the camp that this game needs a true sequel. You know it's different when the plot kicks off at Bowser's castle. King Koopa is defeated. What? But suddenly new, altogether wacky weapon-based villains, the Smithy Gang, crash into the castle. Everything's sent topsy-turvy, the Star Road is busted, and you, yes, you have to save the day, finding all 7 of its pieces, or else no characters in the world get their wishes. Can you imagine it's your birthday and you have a big old cake, the candles are lit, you blow them out, and yet you don't get your wish? I couldn't. Now, having never played the classic game, I went into this without nostalgia for this title. As soon as I had the full cast of party members available, I was all in. The settings are gorgeously realized. You see a different side of the characters, particularly Bowser. The NPCs are often bonkers, the situations are strange, hilarious, and surprisingly heartfelt in parts. I highly recommend it. Next, a bit of a tone shift, Lies of P, which I beat on the Xbox Series X. Lies of P is a dark, horrifying, Baroque retelling of the adventures of Pinocchio. It's also a twisted Souls-like developed by South Korean-based NeoWiz and Round 8 Studios. Like its older brothers From Software's Soulsborne games, the difficulty level of Lies of P can only be described one way, unrelenting from beginning to end, but I'm here for it. Geppetto's puppets saw the death screen over and over again, but each time, even as the enemies reset, I always felt an overwhelming drive to get to the next Stargazer or Bonfire for Souls fans. I found I was always driven by what horror came around the corner, what that next boss looks like. Some fights were an absolute struggle, but others felt like a dance, and those ones I enjoyed. But just as there were when I completed Elden Ring or Dark Souls 3, there were frustrating moments too. Being stun-locked, unable to dodge, out of stamina isn't always a great feeling. Where this game truly shines is when you're haunting the broken city of Krat, pulled straight from an industrial late 19th, early 20th century Belle Epoque setting, but with murder puppets. And let's just say, for someone who doesn't normally go for the horror genre, the sound design is deliciously terrifying, often to my detriment. Yet it also kept me playing. I'm well into New Game Plus. One thing about me is I'm terrified of mannequins. Let me tell you, in Lies of P, there was one level, the Grand Exhibition, they're coming out of the glass cases and they're like, I don't know, pulling themselves up all weird, trying to get to you. It was horrifying and it made me kind of sad. But still, I kept playing. If you like Souls-like or Soulsborne games, pick this one up or try it on Game Pass. You won't regret it. Finally, The Witcher 3. This was one of the most fully fleshed out, lore-rich open worlds that I've ever experienced. And I'm still to this day thinking about some of the life and death story decisions. Wow. Do those witches in the bog haunt anyone else's dreams like they do mine? Ugh. Awful. CD Projekt Red got this game so right. I was torn with nearly every choice. The consequences are real. This game also has one of my favorite main characters, Geralt. A badass, rough and tumble monster slayer, namesake Witcher Geralt of Rivia treks across a world battered by sickness, greed, monsters, and warring factions. As incredibly realized as it is, easy to get lost in for hours at a time, I wouldn't want to call the continent home. Basically a game of cat and mouse. I enjoyed the plot immensely. It starts with Geralt searching for his adopted daughter Ciri, who is being relentlessly hunted by the wraith-like Wild Hunt. Combat-wise, this is an action RPG through and through. Geralt, yes, he has the silver sword and the steel sword, and they're both slung on his back.
Heard you wondering about my swords. Well, one's for monsters. The other for humans.
How cool. I couldn't get enough of the combat, the fighting. It was slick. Rolling, dodging, and then going in with the 1-2 of a light and heavy attack, then roasting villains with Igni, one of your Witcher signs, just felt right. Sometimes in RPGs, the quests, they're not great, but in The Witcher 3, they are. And the villagers, they needed me, and I wasn't just about to, leave them hanging. All jokes aside, riding into town, checking out the bulletin boards, and taking on monster bounties was definitely a highlight. While out on the open road, you encounter a wealth of quests to take on. When you're exploring the lands of The Witcher 3 on foot or astride Roach, you pick up crafting items, used to create things like oils, then coated onto swords for damage buffs or throwable bombs. Alternatively, weapons and armor-wise, finding schematics and diagrams is always satisfying. If you have the correct components, upgrade those blades of yours and your armor sets as well. The Witcher 3 also has an incredibly addicting, well, at least it was for me, card game within the game, Gwent. It took a while for me to learn, but once I had the rules down, I took on every competitor. If you want a break from adventuring, you're slogging through the bog. There's a village over yonder, and there's lights on in the tavern. You cast those doors open. An NPC shows up handing you a tankard of mead and perhaps a board to lay across your knees. And the bread might be a little bit moldy, and he wants to play Gwent. You're not going to say no.
How about a few rounds of cards? Gwent specifically.
An S-tier game for myself, I easily give The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, as well as its 2 DLC packs, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, my rating of crushed it. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, and crush that bell to catch all my videos. And get this, reviewing games is new to me, YouTube isn't. Gaming with Crushworth joins traveling with Crushworth in the Crushworth Extended Universe. What games are you playing? Let me know in the comments below. See you later.